Before I was an adventure touring instructor, I was a street rider, probably just like you, with a dream to get an adventure bike and travel the world on it. When I first started riding off-road, I experienced a lot of anxiety, but I also learned a basic foundation about how to make this whole process of learning how to ride an adventure bike off-road a lot more fun and a lot easier. So stick around, and I guarantee you that by the end of this video, you'll have a much better understanding of what it takes to ride a big adventure bike off-road with confidence. Welcome to Moto Trek. I'm Rob Day, and it's a beautiful day up near the top of Mount Huff, just off of the NorCal BDR. If you're a rider that's thinking about getting into adventure riding, or you've purchased an adventure bike and are thinking about your first trips off-road, then this video is for you. The message here is that adventure riding can be easy if you allow it to be. Most of us come from a background of riding on pavement, and making that transition to dirt can cause some anxiety. The dynamics are different. On pavement, our traction is predictable. We can see far ahead almost always. When we transition to dirt, everything changes, and that change is what causes your anxiety. Sometimes we have very loose traction, rocky terrain, bumps. Sometimes we can't see very far. These are things that would generally cause a street rider extreme anxiety. And so when you ride off-road, you're trying to eliminate this anxiety as much as possible and be as relaxed as possible. Because if you have anxiety and you're nervous, it leads to tension, and tension will lead to over-controlling the motorcycle and possibly making mistakes. The good news is, riding a big adventure bike off-road can be easier than you think. The bike knows what to do. You just have to learn to allow it to happen. When you go off-road, the terrain changes. This affects your traction. You could be rolling on sand or gravel or rocky trails or water crossings, or you could have pine needles all over the trail. If you haven't spent a lot of time off-road, then all of those things can seem like scary and dangerous obstacles, but they're really not. Obstacles like this rock right here are not worth worrying about. And oftentimes you're going to cause yourself a lot more problems by trying to steer around these instead of just letting the bike roll over them. Adventure bikes are designed to make off-road riding easier for you. So don't fight the bike. Let it do what it knows how to do. When we ride on pavement, we are on the seat and we lean with the bike. And we can do that because we have almost unlimited traction. But when we go off-road, traction changes, and it's usually a lot less. Whenever the traction is questionable, you should stand up. It'll just make things a lot easier. And adventure bikes are designed in such a way that it makes it easy to go from seated to standing without a lot of unnecessary body movement. At the same time, your standing position should be neutral and relaxed. We don't want to be pulling on the bars or pushing on the bars. So that means when I know that I'm about to hit the throttle, I'll probably move forward a little bit, so that again, I'm not pushing on the handlebars or pulling on them. And same thing when I roll off the throttle or I'm braking, I'll move back a little bit for the same reason, so that my grip is always nice and light. So the way I'm holding the handlebars when I ride off-road is a really loose grip. I've got maybe 1 or 2 fingers on my controls and 1 or 2 fingers holding the grip. I'm not holding on with my entire hand, and I'm just letting the bars move around a little bit as I ride off-road because I don't want to fight it. The front wheel is going to deflect and wiggle-waggle around a little bit, and I want to let it do that so that I'm not working myself to death. I'm not getting tired. I don't want to death grip the bars. So instead of thinking about steering your way around a trail, think more of controlling the bike with your feet, shifting your weight back and forth to encourage the bike to lean. Because once the bike leans, you'll see the wheels turning back and forth. The bike wants that wheel to turn when it leans because it knows you're about to go that direction. So allow that to happen and don't rely so much on forcing the bike in a certain direction with the handlebars. So your off-road standing position should be super relaxed, and you want to try to decouple yourself from the bike as much as possible. That's how you allow the bike to move around underneath you rather than going with it. Here's what I mean when I say decouple yourself from the bike. So here's your bike, here's you. As you encounter different types of terrain and different turns in the trail, the bike is moving around like this, but you're just staying up over it nice and comfortable along for the ride. Instead of feeling that you have to make your bike do things, you should let your bike do things. All of your controls, your brakes, your throttle, your clutch, you need to operate them as smoothly as possible. We don't want to see anything twitchy, no twitchy throttle or stabby brakes or anything like that. Everything should be done nice and smoothly whenever possible. So if you're not smooth on your controls, for example, if you're twitchy on the throttle or stabby on the brake, the bike is going to respond in kind. It's going to be twitchy and stabby. And every time that you do one of those things, that's an opportunity for the bike to lose traction, and that's no fun. Now, once you are more proficient at riding off-road, then absolutely, you can break traction a lot. It's fun, right? But when you're first starting out, we should be maximizing traction. Remember to breathe, and I mean full breaths as you ride. What happens sometimes when we get nervous is that we take very quick, shallow breaths like this. And now what's happening is, even if you're not really working that hard, you're robbing your body of oxygen and building up CO2, and this leads to fatigue for no reason other than the fact that you're not breathing properly. So full, deep breaths all the time as you ride. That'll help you relax. Also, if you find that you're getting frustrated or things just aren't going your way and it appears that it's going to get worse, now it's time to sit down and stop the bike. So sit down, put your feet down, and take a nice deep breath. Hold it for about a second and blow it out slowly. Do this twice. That'll drop your heart rate by about 40%. And that might be all it takes for you to now feel better about what you're doing and continue on. Now we're going to talk about one thing that has more effect on the way you control your bike than anything you could possibly do with your hands or feet. And that's your vision. So we want to always keep our eyes up towards the horizon, not down at the ground in front of us. This is hard to resist at first, but by keeping your eyes up towards the horizon, your balance becomes automatic. You don't even think about it. But as soon as you look down towards the ground, now you have to manage your own balance. You don't have that fixed frame of reference out there, the world, the horizon anymore. So the bike may have already tipped past the point of no return before you realize that you're out of balance if you're looking down. So remember, eyes up for balance. Another part of vision that can end up causing you a lot of problems is something called target fixation. What that means is you've seen and identified something that you feel is a hazard ahead, and you can't take your eyes off of it. And because the motorcycle will always go where you're looking, you end up colliding with the obstacle. So the fix is to train yourself not to stare at an obstacle. Rip your eyeballs away from that thing and train yourself to look where you do want to go and don't look where you don't want to go. Because the motorcycle will go where you're looking, you need to get in the habit of turning your head to look where you want to go. Not just your eyeballs, that's not enough. When you turn your head and look as if I want to go over there, you'll notice my shoulders also naturally turn. So do my hips. This shoulder and hip turning puts you in the proper body position for a counterbalance turn already, so you don't have to think about that. You just simply turn and look, and you'll find that the bike will automatically just go there. It'll start to lean, the front wheel will start to turn, and you'll find yourself there, almost like magic. When you're new at riding off-road, you're probably going to be a very careful rider, and that's fine. But one thing that you have to keep in mind is that you need enough momentum to maintain your balance. And if you get going too slow, you lose momentum. Loss of momentum is probably the most common cause of new rider tip-overs. Usually an uphill turn or something like that. They just got going too slow and the bike fell over. So think of momentum as balance in the bank, and don't overdraw yourself. Maintain your momentum, you'll maintain your balance. You may be inclined as a new adventure rider to ride around in first gear all day long. It's a lot of work, way more work than this needs to be. So my advice to you is, even if you don't intend to speed up, shift up to second gear. And here's why. By upshifting, you no longer have a snatchy throttle like you do in first gear, right? It's now a lot smoother, and all of your other control responses are also going to smooth out. The other reason for this is that when the engine is revving really high, your brain starts to think you're doing something dangerous. So trick your brain into thinking you're doing something very easy and calm simply by upshifting. The engine RPM gets lower and you calm down and everything's okay. What you've learned in this video are the basic techniques that'll help you ride your adventure bike with more confidence and less anxiety. Remember, When the terrain gets sketchy, stand up, relax, be light and smooth on the controls, and keep your eyes up.